She wanted the man, so she poisoned the woman. But peace never dies quietly. Her perfume returned. Now, every step she takes echoes with guilt. Lara, the homebreaker, when you shatter peace, it comes back to break you. Let's go through Lara's story together. Lara didn't always chase married men, but after years of struggling through life and seeing nothing good come out of her efforts, her heart changed. She used to be a good girl, hopeful, patient, and prayerful. But good didn't pay bills. Good didn't feed her younger siblings back in Ibadan. Good didn't protect her from hunger and insults. So she made up her mind. She would use what she had to get what she wanted. When Lara first came to Lagos, she was full of dreams. She had just finished school and planned to find a good job, save up, and eventually start a business. She stayed with her aunt in Ketu, but the small flat was already full. Her aunt had 3 children, and her husband didn't like extra guests. Lara knew she had to leave soon. Every morning she would dress neatly and walk from office to office, submitting her CV. She even attended job fairs and applied online. Nothing worked. Every interview ended in, "We'll get back to you." But they never did. She started doing ushering jobs on weekends and sold thrift clothes online. Sometimes she helped her aunt fry a akara on Saturdays just to have something in her pocket. But Lagos was wicked, and the money never lasted. One day she sat alone at a cafe using their free Wi-Fi when a man in a sleek black car parked outside. He walked in, dressed in a clean suit, smelling of money and power. He bought coffee, and their eyes met. She smiled politely. He smiled back. Then he paid for her drink. They talked briefly. He gave her his card. His name was Kunle. He was married, with 2 kids, and he made it clear from day one. But he also made it clear that he had money to spend. That same week, he gave Lara money for food. The next week, he took her shopping. By the 3rd week, he paid for a small apartment in Agege and gave her a monthly allowance. Lara told herself she wasn't doing anything wrong. If his wife was doing her job, he wouldn't be here, she said. She believed she was doing him a favor, making him feel alive again. One man turned into 2, then 3, then more. Lara became smart and selective. She knew how to pick the rich, weak ones. She checked their social media, studied their routines, and waited for the right time to strike. Some she met at weddings, others in banks or lounges. Sometimes she dressed simply. Other times she dressed to kill. She knew her power, and she used it well. Some of the men begged her to keep their secrets. Others started talking about divorcing their wives. One even did. Lara felt like a queen. She didn't care who got hurt. In her mind, the wives were either careless or too slow. If they can't keep their homes, that's their business, she would say. But Lara had a rule. Once the money slowed down or the drama became too much, she moved on. No emotions, no guilt, just next target. She left a trail of broken hearts and broken homes behind. A wife once called her crying. Another one almost fought her in public. But Lara was unmoved. She had seen too much pain to care about anyone else's. Then came Mr. Chuka. Lara met him at a high-end hotel in Victoria Island. She wasn't staying there. She just went there to meet a friend who had promised her a hookup job. As she waited in the lobby, scrolling through her phone and pretending to belong, he noticed her. "Are you waiting for someone?" he asked, polite and gentle. "Yes," she smiled. "My friend's running late." He sat beside her and offered to buy her a drink. She hesitated, then agreed. That was the beginning. Mr. Chuka was in his mid-40s, owned a successful building company, and had 3 children with his wife in Enugu. Lara was charming. She wore confidence like perfume and knew how to smile at the right moments. Within 2 weeks, Chuka was taking her to expensive dinners and sending her money to take care of yourself. Soon after, he rented her a 2-bedroom apartment in Lekki. She started living large, hair appointments every week, designer clothes, weekend getaways. But the more she demanded, the more tired Chuka became. His wife started suspecting. His business began to suffer. His workers said he lost focus. Money stopped flowing the way it used to. Then one Saturday afternoon, everything came crashing down. Lara was out shopping at a mall in Lekki when a woman stormed in and grabbed her by the wig. "You this shameless girl! You're the one sleeping with my husband?" The woman screamed. It was Chuka's wife. Before Lara could react, the woman slapped her in front of everyone. People gathered, phones came out, videos were taken. The woman shouted all Lara's secrets. She called her a homebreaker, a thief in makeup, a curse to any family. Security came to separate them, but the damage had been done. Lara walked out of that mall in tears, not from pain, but from shame. Her name started trending on local blogs. People laughed in comment sections. Even some of her followers turned against her. But that was just the beginning of her disgrace. The next morning, Chuka's wife returned, with police. She stormed the apartment in Lekki that her husband had rented for Lara. With officers beside her, she banged on the door until Lara opened it, still in her nightwear. "You think you'll scatter my home and sleep in peace?" the woman shouted. She showed them the property documents. Chuka had used his company's name to rent it, meaning legally he wasn't the tenant. His wife was a signatory too. Within minutes, Lara was asked to pack her things. The police watched as she gathered her wigs, bags, and shame. The neighbors peeped from their balconies. Someone filmed the whole thing. The wife changed the locks and sealed the house, saying, "No prostitute will rest in what my children's inheritance paid for." Lara left that street dragging her suitcase, head down, dignity scattered. She changed her number and stayed with a friend in Surulere for a while. But soon enough, she returned to the game. The second man was Lakan, a popular politician in Ogun State. She met him through a friend during a birthday party in Ikoyi. Lakan was loud, flashy, and generous. He had a habit of throwing money around and bragging about his connections. Lara knew immediately he was a target, and she hit it well. In less than a month, Lakan took her to South Africa for a little breathing space. He introduced her to his friends as my business partner and bought her an SUV as a welcome gift. Her Instagram became filled with designer bags and fancy dinners. She didn't love him, but she played her part perfectly, called him baby, laughed at his dry jokes, and rubbed his back when he got stressed. He felt like a king. She felt like a queen. But greed doesn't know when to stop. One day she asked for a property in Abuja. That was when Lakan started acting funny. 2 months later, he called to say his account was under government investigation. She panicked, not for him, but for herself. The man who once gave her bundles of cash now asked her to pray for me. She quietly left him, blocked his number, and deleted all their pictures. Then she met Bamadel. He was quiet, gentle, wealthy, a successful businessman who owned a chain of car dealerships. Lara met him at a friend's birthday dinner. He didn't even look at her twice that night, and that was exactly what caught her attention. She played the long game. 3 weeks later, she sent him a birthday message on LinkedIn. He replied with a simple, "Thanks." She waited 2 days, then replied, "Hope your day was fun." Slowly, she built the conversation. Within 3 months, they were meeting secretly. Within 6 months, he paid her rent and started giving her monthly upkeep. Within a year, he bought her a new car and opened a boutique in her name. Bamadel was married to Mariam, a soft-spoken, beautiful woman with 2 kids. Mariam found out about Lara. She cried, begged, even called Lara once. "I don't want to fight you," she said softly. "I just want my family." Lara laughed after the call. "She's too soft," she told her friend. "That's why I'll take her place." Mariam tried everything. She stayed in the marriage. She prayed. She fasted. She cried in silence. But Lara didn't stop. She wanted more. She was tired of being the side chick. She wanted the crown. Then Lara came up with a plan. She offered to visit the house on one of the weekends Mariam was away with the kids. She told Bamadel she just wanted to cook for him and surprise him. He agreed, but Lara brought something with her. She added something to the food. Not poison, just enough to make Mariam weak when she returned. She continued visiting secretly. Each time she dropped small doses into her tea or soup. Mariam began to fall sick. Headaches, dizziness, blood pressure went up. Doctors couldn't explain it. Bamadel was worried. Lara pretended to care too. "Maybe it's stress," she said. Then one day Lara added more than before. By morning, Mariam was dead. It was ruled as a heart attack. Everyone said it was sudden, shocking, painful. Lara shed crocodile tears. She wore black. She even helped take care of the children for a while. 1 year later, Bamadel married her. Not with a big party, just a quiet court wedding. Lara had finally become Madame Bamadel, the wife of the wealthy man she had fought tooth and nail to have. The woman she had secretly poisoned, Mariam, was buried 6 months ago. Her pictures were gone. Her perfumes no longer filled the air. Her children's laughter had faded, and the once happy home now felt like a graveyard. At first, Lara thought she had won. She wore Mariam's gold jewelry, slept in her king-size bed, and even used her kitchen. Guests started calling her Madam, but their greetings were cold. The driver barely looked at her. The house help only spoke when spoken to. The children wouldn't even eat her food. One night, the youngest child, Bamidella Jr., looked her in the eyes and said, "You will never be my mother. You killed my mother." Lara's heart dropped. Days turned into weeks, and the home remained cold. The man she married, Bamidel, became a ghost of himself. He came home late and barely looked her way. He stopped touching her. One evening, she entered the room and saw him staring at Mariam's photo. She tried to act calm. "You miss her?" she asked. He didn't look up. "She didn't deserve it," he whispered. Lara's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" she asked slowly. "I know what you did," he said. "I saw the CCTV, the one in the kitchen. I never told you I installed a new one." She froze. "I watched you drop it in her tea. I watched everything." He stood up, picked his car keys, and said, "You took her life like it meant nothing." She tried to speak, but her throat was dry. "I loved her. I never stopped," he said. "You were noise, a distraction, a mistake." He left. He didn't come back that night. A week later, he brought divorce papers. "I'm moving out. You can keep the house, but I can't stay here. I don't sleep at night. My dreams are haunted." He left that night. The silence in the house grew louder. The walls whispered things. The shadows seemed to move. The children left. The maids resigned. The compound became overgrown. Neighbors crossed the street to avoid her gate. Soon, strange things started happening. At night, Lara would hear footsteps in the corridor. Sometimes she would wake up and smell Mariam's perfume. Even though the bottles had been thrown away, the lights would flicker at 2 a.m. She started talking to herself. She stopped bathing. Her hair fell off. Her eyes sank. When she finally went to the hospital, the doctor said her liver was failing. "Too much stress, too much pain, too much loneliness," he said. She spent her last days lying on the same bed where Mariam used to sleep, alone, sick, abandoned. Her phone never rang. Nobody visited. Bamidel had moved abroad. The children never forgave her. Her own family was ashamed to be associated with her. One night, while crawling to the kitchen for water, she slipped. The glass broke. She hit her head on the floor and bled. She tried to scream but couldn't. Lara died before sunrise, whispering through tears, "Mariam, forgive me. I didn't know this would be my end." Her body was discovered 2 days later by a neighbor who came to check on the smell. She was buried in silence. No ceremony, no family around her, no children crying, no husband to hold her hand. And that was how Lara the homebreaker ended. Not just alone, but unloved, unmissed, and forgotten.